This is my June and July recap video. So any books, mostly books, or music, or history, or movies that I watch, I'm going to talk about because I can. Hey, it's me from the future. I just wanted to really quickly say that I'm working on my ability to speak without using the words like or So if you see me speaking really slowly in the video or like looking confused, that's something I'm working on, and that's why I don't script these videos. Okay, you can go back to watching now. Bye. This is my current book ranking. I'll put it up on the screen. It's interesting to rate books. It's sometimes hard to compare them against each other when they're trying to do so many different things, but this is what it looks like right now. I'm not going to talk about the first book that I read this month, which is Gertrude. I don't have it with me because I lent it to my girlfriend to read. I really enjoyed it. I don't think there's too much to talk about it as like other Hermann Hesse books like Steppenwolf. But I think it was a great book. If you're interested in the themes of age, like how an adult's life is different between youth and when they're older, desire, creation, or fate, I highly recommend it as a read. Another book I read this month, which actually took me quite a while, was The Master and Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov. This I highly recommend. I think if you see this in a bookstore, grab it and start reading it straight away. I think it's an absurd book, like it's very over the top at some points, but I just found it so entertaining to read, whilst it also touched on quite a few deep ideas about truth, desire, and history. The book intertwines like a contemporary plotline in Moscow where the devil causes chaos in Russia with the story of Pontius Pilate and Jesus, which I was not expecting. I often don't read the blurb of any books that I read. I kind of just go off vibes, and I wasn't expecting it, and it really caught me off guard, which is awesome. I think it was a good break from some of the more serious or more tame books I've been reading, to read something that was just so fun to read. So I highly recommend. I moved on to reading Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. I think everyone knows a little about this book, so I'm not going to harp on about it. But I will say I'm almost halfway, and I found it quite a smooth read so far, because you're put straight into the head of an almost insane protagonist, but it reads so rational. It's fantastic the way he's done that. The one thing I will say about reading a book like this, and that's something that I haven't done, but I will do the next time I read a Dostoevsky book, is creating a character map, because there's just so many names, and they're so Russian, and they can be so similar at times too. So I highly recommend every time a character is introduced, just jot down who they are, because it will help you. There's been a few times in this book where there's 3 or 4 or 5 characters in one scene, and they're all referred to by 3 different names at some points. And then a random character from, 100 pages back will come back, and you're like, who was that again? So highly recommend a character map. Also highly recommend this book so far. In terms of books that I would like to read, we have Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. So I've kind of been warming up to Hesse's writing style, which has actually been very different with all the books that I've read. But I've talked about this in my last video. I think it'll be more Steppenwolf-like. I've got no idea what it's about, but looking forward to reading this. I'm interested in reading Lolita by Nabokov, which I found at a secondhand store, because it's quite a controversial book. And obviously, like, if you know anything about the book, you know why it's controversial. But I am interested to see what makes this book stand out, because there are lots of books with terrible moral protagonists, and I'm interested to see, like, obviously this guy's fucked up, but why? I think it's because in the 90s, Nabokov had quite a few academic accusations of the crimes that are in this book, which were found untrue, but I think. So I'll have a read and I'll let you know. But I'm quite interested in this one. I just got this one today for my birthday. JL Cars, A Month in the Country. Also don't know anything about it. I've heard good things about it through my brother and TikTok. It's very short, so hopefully I can maybe over 1 or 2 days just down and really enjoy this. I know it's about a historian, which I love history, so awesome, and he's restoring an artwork, I believe. So that sounds right up my alley. In terms of history books, I've really been making an effort to fill in the gaps in my knowledge of history. So I think it's quite easy if you're someone who loves history to just keep finding more and more and going more detailed about the things you already know. So for me, I feel like I know quite a lot about like the Julio-Claudians in the Roman Empire. And for days, I could just keep learning more and more and more. But I'm trying to spice it up. So I've been working through and taking notes. I always take notes when I read nonfiction books to help kind of ingrain it more in my memory. Gregory of Tours, The History of the Franks, I think the Frankish history is just such a divot in my knowledge of history. So I am keen to go through this. Although I'm finding that as a primary source, it's good, but also quite general. So I'm having to match it up with other primary sources I find on like my university database, if I can. And then also the lives of the later Caesars, which is another one I picked up recently. I've read Suetonius's Lives of the 12 Caesars, and I kind of want to continue. I feel like my knowledge of the early Roman Empire is quite good, but later it's terrible. I know nothing. So we'll see how we go with this. In terms of music, I've been really onto Radiohead lately. They've been like my go-to for sure. Especially I've been really into Pablo Honey and the Bends. So I think it's quite interesting. I'm not a big Nirvana guy. Like I don't really listen to Nirvana, but you can definitely hear the influence on Radiohead's early music. If you're into 90s rock, kind of grunge music, I highly recommend that you listen to those albums. And I think they've been influencing the way I make music, which is interesting. So if you didn't know, I make music quite a lot. I love producing music, so I write all the music. I play all the music by myself and I produce it. Here's a little snippet of me going to the studio last week. When I listen to music, it definitely influences this kind of style of music I make and the way I play it. So yeah, that's my June, July recap. If you liked the video, like it, subscribe, leave a comment. What are you reading right now? I'm interested to know. Otherwise, get off YouTube and go outside. Something I forgot to talk about was that I am working through, in terms of philosophy and theology, Thomas Aquinas's Summa Theologica. So right now I'm just, at the start he's listing 10 questions about like sacred doctrine, and I've been making notes about that, which I can maybe show somewhere, maybe. But that's just another thing I recommend. If you're interested in theology, so far it's been excellent. So have a nice day.